Ferris is a bit like Joel Tompkins for me.
Yeah.
The odd mistimed tackle, the odd bit of over-exuberance.
Carelessness rather than...
But this instance, I think he was... He was way over that line of that... Joel Tompkins caught Rob Burrow around the forehead, didn't he, late on? And that was a careless sort of flap at a player from a player who's not as fit as he used to be in the 78th minute, whatever it was. But it wasn't a nice action.
Good chance for Ferris to lose a bit of weight over the next 6 weeks. I'd just get him on the treadmill if I was McDermott.
Well, yeah.
There you go. Okay. Anything else we need to cover off on this one?
Leeds were the better team and deserve to win the game. I'll get that back on the level there.
There you go. Fair play. Okay, so what did the stats tell us then? Do that bear it out.
A hefty 3.3% better team tackle success and a friendly 6-10 penalty count were the biggest stat wins behind Leeds' victory, but also with 125 more metres despite one fewer clean break and 5 more successful offloads than Wigan. Only major downside for Leeds was a 13-9 error count they lost. 31 dummy half runs by Leeds is the most by a team this year.
There you go. So individually, who stood out for us?
Joel Moon with a try and a try assist, although, an assist on his try should go to the Wigan tackling. But he was good, weren't he?
Yeah.
Adam Cuthbertson with 127 metres, 4 successful offloads was key. Jamie Jones Buchanan worked hard as always, 46 tackles. Ryan Hall with a try and 119 metres. Callum Watkins, though, with the best stat line for Leeds with a try assist, 6 tackle balls, 177 metres, 2 clean breaks and 4 successful offloads.
Wonderful. So your Wigan Warriors, who stood out for you guys?
Well, Willie Isa worked really hard in exit sets. He got 152 metres running the ball tough. Liam Marshall got himself a try and 103 metres. George Williams was the best stat line for Wigan with 2 tries, 100 metres, 2 clean breaks, 3 successful offloads.
There you go. So to Saturday afternoon then, and it was a game that you attended, Mark. Warrington 22, Hull FC 22. First points of the season on the board for Wire in front of 10,676 people.
And again, it felt like more. There was a great travelling contingent from Hull, and the standing side for Warrington was well full. We start with Tom Eckley 99, Warrington fan. He said, going into this game I would have taken a draw, however given how dominant we were and possibly the worst drop goal attempt I've seen, I'm kind of disappointed. Still lots of positives though.
There you go. Brian Davies said
he wants to have a look at Danny Bruff's attempt against Wigan the other week.
Oh god, yeah.
Gidley's was like the best executed bad drop goal attempt. You know what I mean? If he was aiming for another set of sticks wide, he had that much time and he hit it that cleanly that it was perfect if he was aiming for that next set.
He had the length, not the
how fast bowlers will go for outside the off stump and deliberately aim for that area, the corridor of uncertainty. It was if he was going for that.
You lose me with cricket, mate. I don't know enough about it to know if that's true, but I get your point. Okay, Brian Davies says, caught this online from BBC Humberside. They certainly felt FC got away with this one as Wyatt made mistake after mistake and failed to take their chances. Great to see the Wire finally get off the mark. I guess they certainly seem to be getting better, though Ratchford and Gidley sounded like they were poor. No surprise with Ratchford, he's all hype, but Gidley seems to be struggling to deal with the responsibility this year.
I thought Ratchford was okay, if I'm honest. Wire Joe said, after an all too familiar first half where we killed ourselves with penalties and handling errors, it says a lot about how big the whole capitulation was in the second half that I'm disappointed we didn't win that. There's still an awful lot of work to do, but hopefully we've now got something to build on. But as they say, it's the hope that kills you.
It is, Joe. It is the hope that kills you. Scoots28 Max said, I think Ratford got bench selection wrong. Again, we need to respect the ball more and stop the daft penalties. Nice to meet Mark and watch a game with him.
Yeah, do you know what? It was a really cleansing experience for me after watching us lose 2 weeks in a row, Wigan, to go and watch a game as a neutral. It'd be such an exciting game. I'd spend it with such well knowledgeable. I can't remember if I said it when we were recording or before we were recording, but all three of them just had great memories and knowledge of the game and stuff, and it was great to share the time with them. And I hope I didn't wind them up too much, not being quite as involved as they were.
Well, I don't think they would expect you to be too pro Hull. I think just a respectful applause here and there would have done.
But yeah, interesting points from Scoots.
There you go. What does Lee Whitnall have to say?
Says, for most of the game we played the pedestrian, predictable, error-strewn rugby I've come to expect this season. Then suddenly we kicked into gear and started rolling over Hull at will. They looked gassed, started to make errors and resolved to milk in injuries to slow down the game. In the end we could have snatched it if Gidley had practiced drop goals, sideline conversions, throwing, or we played pattern of 7.
Yeah, any one of those 4 would have done it for you. Elliot Wrench said, it was my first game out of the HJ this season, and what a game of 2 halves. Literally. The highlight from the first was at half-time when a 7-year-old hit the bar in the crossbar challenge. Congratulations to that young man. Or young lady.
No, it was a lad, yeah. I think he was called Max
Steele.
There you go.
Okay. Hull were...
not Anita Punt, though.
Not Anita Punt, no. We'll have to... we have to talk about
Anita...
Anita...
We'll recap in the wrap-up on Anita Punt.
We have to talk about Anita Punt in a moment, don't we? Okay. Where am I? So all this talk of Anita's put me off. Then suddenly we kicked into gear and started rolling over Hull. That's Lee Whitnall. Hull were the better team, Elliot says, and looked like delivering a damning scoreline. Heck knows what was said in the Wolves dressing room, but we got a feast of rugby league in the second half. Some dubious decisions given and not really helped make it a nail-biter. 1 point to start. What do you reckon? Were you there? You saw it live.
Yeah, it was thoroughly entertaining because there was a lot of action going on.
Were you at the right end for the tries? Because it was Hull were leading and then Wyant.
No, we didn't see any of the Hull tries at our end, but we saw the genesis that started 2 of the Hull tries at our end.
Oh, there you go. So you were there at the beginning, you can say.
What I would say is Warrington were both the best team, the best side in this game, and the worst side in this game. Hull, by and large, were passengers to what Warrington could or couldn't achieve. Hull were playing a structured game that was then what they hoped to happen is, off the cuff, something will come from Kelly or Manu or Fanua, or Griffin, and that'll give them the extra bit of life and creativity to get them the tries like it did against Wigan. They didn't quite achieve that as much in this game, and the bloke stood next to me was very critical of their final red zone attack, shall we say, and it did seem to be a little pedestrian at times, but they didn't get loads of opportunities on the Warrington line. Warrington, on the other hand, had quite a lot of opportunities on the Hull line, but their last tackle options were terrible.
Right.
It felt like the only way they were ever going to score in the first half was if Matty Russell managed to make a break on one of his scoops out of dummy half, because other than that, they weren't penetrating very often. Certainly in the first 20 minutes, half an hour, that was the case. But because when they got into there was one set that ended with Kevin Brown passing it to Joe Westerman, who passed it to George King on the last tackle for a hit up.
Right.
It was terrible. They got tackled on the Hull line in early stages of the second half on the last tackle 2 or 3 times. They put in poor kicks and when they did put in kicks, but they tried to run it quite a lot. One of the Hull breakaway tries, the Connor one, was a last tackle play where Kevin Brown tried to do for a ridiculous cut out pass that was never on. So Warrington were beating themselves after getting themselves in good positions, kind of what we've been seeing a lot from them. So I thought Hull were controlling things without exploding. They were taking advantage of the opportunities that were given to them. What maybe hinted at things to come was Hull tried to overplay it a little bit right at the end of the first half. It gave Warrington an opportunity for quick ball on the turnover of play in the middle of the field. A penalty was then given rightfully on the next play, and it gave Warrington a minute to attack.
Okay.
And they finished it off with a really good set move with Toby King with a perfectly timed offload to put Russell in for his second try in the corner just before half time.
Right.
I think the hooter went when the kick was being missed. And maybe you thought that was a glimmer of hope for Warrington. I never felt like Warrington were going to be able to execute well enough to win the game. I always thought Hull would end up winning it, but Hull never quite, in the last 15 minutes, got into position to have a really good drop goal attempt. What baffled me and Scoots' dad was when they had a 14-point lead, they went for a penalty goal, which Sneyd missed, his first miss of the day. When I thought they should have run it, kept possession, kept the pressure on, and tried to then maybe get a repeat set or that sort of thing. But after that, they were resorting to trying to play for territory, never really attacking. The one attack they did have right near the end was wasted by Mahe Fanua putting a ridiculous kick in for himself.
Right.
When probably a little bit of panic when there was better options around that they might have wanted to think about.
Okay.
But that was the only real threat they offered in the second half, did Hull, after that penalty kick attempt. Whereas Warrington had found the zip out of dummy half when Darrell Clarke came back in. Hull were tired. Hull missed Danny Houghton in defence. He covers, we said last week, he covers for a lot of players for Hull in defence. And when Scott Taylor was off the pitch at the same time as Bowden was off the pitch for a very short period of time, the role got on. As Liam Watts was tiring on his first game back for a while, and Ellis wasn't the force he was in the game the week before. So I never felt, though, that they were going to lose control of it because Warrington kept making mistakes. So a draw was probably right.
I was going to say draw's a fair result then. Right, what did the stats tell us then?
Do you know what? Some big stuff in the stats on this, actually. A season so far high of 3,160 metres in this game. An all-time SLP high of 8.9 metres per carry overall in the whole game. So a lot of quick metre-making action for me to see. Also, 51 dummy half runs in the game is a new high for a match in 2017. Warrington came out on the top of most numbers. They had all of their starting lineup, apart from the two halfbacks, went over 100 running metres in the game.
Crikey.
So their 1,709 metres were 258 more than Hull could manage. Just one extra clean break and one extra try, but 23 more tackle busts. The biggest hindrance to Wire was the 14-7 error count, as those habits of poor execution are sticking around. For Hull, poor tackling was a factor for them again, as it was in the near collapse at Wigan, where they just were resilient enough to hang on. 4.8% worst team tackle success, as well as being behind 6-8 on the penalty count. Wire had a plus 43 win on the positive-negative impact play differential. The tackle bust / missed tackles underpinned this in the main. But it shows that Warrington are their own worst enemies, and Hull should feel relieved to get away with a draw, but at the same time think that they had opportunities as well to ice it.
Right, so okay, so individually who stood out for Warrington then?
Well, Stefan Ratchford had 6 tackle busts, 151 metres and 2 clean breaks. Toby King with a try assist, 8 tackle busts, 134 metres, 2 clean breaks. I think he's a classy young centre. Ben Westwood with 153 metres, rolled back the clock after me writing him off in the first 20 minutes when he looked like he couldn't make a metre to save his life. Darrell Clarke with a try, 8 tackle busts, 129 metres, and Matty Russell with 3 squeezing in the corner tries and 173 running metres. Lots of dummy half running again from Russell.
And for FC?
Well, Mark Minicello put in a hard effort, 6 tackle busts, 135 metres. Danny Washbrook made 42 tackles. Scott Taylor of 149 metres was very good when he was on the pitch. They missed him when he wasn't. Jake Connor with a try, 113 metres, and Jamie Shaw with a try, 171 metres. Both of those were the breakaway plays, essentially underpinned those. Jamie Shaw showed that he's still got gas, that I was wondering if he'd lost half a step at some point this year, but his try was the breakaway speed was still there.
Good stuff. Okay, so down at the Leigh Sports Village then, I bet the Farm and the Centurions win, but it was Widnes getting their first win of the season with a 37 points to 24 victory in front of 6,196.
Healthy crowd this Saturday afternoon. Stuff's gone down quite well in this country, hasn't it? Okay, Tyler Caspan said, only caught the first half of this. It seemed that Leigh started a bit complacent and without their usual speed and intensity. Another lesson to be learned for the newcomers, but pleased for Dennis Betts and the Widnes fans, especially those who contribute to this podcast.
Oh, how very well put, Tyler. Neil McKeown got in touch and said, a win at last. Good to see us playing with an actual 7. Not bad to see our hookers not bad seeing our 2 hookers wear 17 and 19. Just picked up another 3 injuries though.
Yeah, they ended up with, I'm sure we'll get to that in the other reviews actually. At Come On Widnes, thanks for getting in touch, said, With the amount of injuries we already had, we started with 6 academy players and then losing 4 players to head knocks and then having to spend the last 20 minutes with no subs. Yeah, there we go. I honestly couldn't see how we were going to see it out. Luckily we did, with some points to spare. Danny Craven hat-trick and Tom Gilmore were the standout players today, but the whole team did us proud. Hashtag up the chemic.
There you go. Paul O'Brien says, wasn't there but was listening when I could in work. Great to finally get a win. Some great tries from the Vikings.
And Paul Ludo Lewis says, yes, that is what we've been after all season. Big hits in the middle, break